Frank Caliendo will join us here in Vegas coming up in the final hour of the program, update the poll results. And Seton, with a mystery email or text message from your wife, can you give that to us? Then we'll get to Nicole Briscoe. Maybe she can help answer this question.
I think she can.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just got a text from my wife during the show, and the text says, read this post and some of the comments.
Oh, no.
And it's a tweet. It's a link to a tweet. And the tweet says, being 5'9" to 5'11" is the worst height for men. You're not tall enough to coast the dating market on Easy Street, yet not short enough to be single-mindedly driven to become a billionaire. So I'm 5'11" and 3/4. I fall right into that window of, this is the worst height for men because you're just kind of average. You're not really tall, so very attractive, and you're not short enough to just become a billionaire.
Should I tell you that my husband is like maybe 5'8"? Like, if I'm 5'7", he's like maybe 5'8".
All right, yeah.
But he's a race car driver,
Yes.
so that comes in handy.
Okay, so like it got him like the edge there because he's small and he can fit inside the cars.
Yeah, it's not like
Yeah.
he's a Danette. I mean, he actually aspired to do something greater
Right.
than that.
According to this, he's on the fast track to being a billionaire. I mean, that sounds great.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know about the fast track part of it.
So then you start reading I started reading the comments.
Yeah.
The first one says, 5'10" is like $150K a year, comfortable but not impressive.
Okay. Because it's kind of average, right?
That's kind of average, I
Kind of
guess.
average.
Yeah.
Because if you ask a woman what's the ideal height, she's probably going to say 6 foot, 6'2".
6'2"-ish, right? Yeah.
I mean,
That's what they're hoping for.
So I lie.
Right.
Like every 5'11" guy in the world lies and says
Like,
they're
I'm
6
6
foot.
foot.
Yeah, everybody does.
How about a full intro here? Nicole
Hi.
Briscoe, the SportsCenter anchor, Formula One reporter, 11 o'clock Eastern SportsCenter. We used to watch you in the morning
Yes.
with Randy Scott.
yes.
Yes. So
Now
you-
I lead into him,
Oh.
essentially the overnight
Oh, yeah.
situation.
ESPN will televise the Las Vegas Grand Prix at 11 Eastern this Saturday. What should we know going into this race?
Oh, God, that's an open-ended question. What should you know? You should know that this is year 3 in Vegas, and this event has changed so much since year 1 to now. But this will likely be the coldest race of the season, which could just it's absolute havoc in terms of grip and the way the cars handle on the track. But historically, this has been one of the best races of the year. There's a lot of passing. There's normally passing can be difficult. So just like buckle up. It's going to be a good weekend. We just need the rain to stay away.
But I wondered about that because NASCAR is built on, the drama of passing and.
But that's also oval racing, so it's completely different.
But what I'm saying is Formula One doesn't have that many elements of passing.
It doesn't. So you have to take Formula One in sort of like in sections. You have the front of the pack, you have the midfield guys, and you guys at the back. There is passing within the groups. There is competition within the groups. But the likelihood that, say, a mid-pack team is going to take it to McLaren, probably not. But a Ferrari, a Mercedes, like a George Russell ran away with this race last year. They could easily be on the move against like a Red Bull this weekend, and then you could have an interesting battle in the mid-pack. So there is passing. It just may not look like it from top to bottom.
The driver and the car, give me the ratio of, we have this in horse racing, we have this in a lot of different things. So how would you assess that ratio of how good is my driver, how good is my car?
You cannot have it all without having the best of both worlds. You really can't. And I think there are some drivers who can like make up that gap. I think Max Verstappen is probably the best example of this because I've always said I feel like Max can drive a shoebox. And I think this year, in a lot of ways, has almost cemented his legacy as one of the greatest drivers of all time because in years past, he probably had the best car and he ran away with the championship. At the beginning of this year, the Red Bull was sort of like, it was terrible. And he was still making things happen with it. And you'd watch the onboard sometime and you'd be like, how the hell is he driving that car? Let alone like putting it near the front, being competitive with it. And so if you look at what they've done since they've made the upgrades, you've taken this world-class generational talent and a driver, and then you've taken a great car, and they've taken a guy who 5 races into the season was like, I am out of this championship, and now he's very much in contention for the championship. So you have to have that. You look at McLaren, they have 2 great drivers, and they've made so much improvements to their car, and that's put them in the front of the field. But if the car falls off, then I don't really know if they're in the same position. It really is this, it has to be a solid relationship between the two.
We love to do greatest of all time rankings here.
Yes.
Lewis Hamilton,
Yes.
GOAT?
So you have to, it's a little bit like in the NBA. Like, I'm a 90s kid, so like I personally say all greatest of all time conversations start and end with Michael Jordan. You do have to think generationally. You can't have, like, the Michael Schumacher era is not the same as the era now. So when you're talking about the greatest of all time, I think you have to include Schumacher, you have to include some of the guys from before that, and then yes, Lewis Hamilton. But I also think you make a case already for Max Verstappen. You could look at some of the things that Sebastian Vettel did. He won 4 straight championships and is still the youngest champion ever. It's an interesting sport, and it produces a lot of greats. I mean, it's the pinnacle of motorsports.
But how do you grow up and say, I want to be a Formula One driver? We go, I want to be a quarterback, I want to be a pitcher. That seems to be.
Do you have $1 bajillion? That's usually a good place to start. I mean, honestly, you're talking, at the end of the day, you're talking this year, the 20 best in the world. Next year to be 22, because Cadillac is coming on board. But essentially, they begin driving at this tall. They're 4 when they get into a
But like
go-kart for
Jeff
the
Gordon
first time.
got into.
Yes, exactly. You start at this age, and it's a little bit like, you watch a guy who's like a hockey player. They're skating before they're walking. These guys are driving before they're doing anything else. And it's very cute when they're little, but this is an incredibly expensive sport. And most of the time, it has to come from like your family or your sponsors. And unless you are good at it, you cannot advance because no one's going to back you. And the amount of money it takes to be where these people are now is just, it's absurd.
What do they make? What kind of money are we talking about?
I think when you look at like sponsorships and things like that, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say Verstappen brings in $80 million a year. That's my guess.
They don't have a salary cap in Formula One,
Well,
do
they do have a cost cap.
Okay.
And so those things, and the nuances of that I can't totally give you, but there is a cost cap. So they do have to operate within the budget, but I don't know if the drivers' salaries are included in that. I'm pretty sure they're not.
We're talking to Nicole Briscoe, the SportsCenter anchor, Formula One reporter. ESPN will televise the Las Vegas Grand Prix at 11 Eastern on Saturday. What do you remember about your first SportsCenter?
Oh my God. Like, so freaking nervous because McQuaid called me.
Mike McQuaid runs ESPN.
Right, exactly. So I had been at ESPN for, 7 or 8 years because I had been doing the NASCAR stuff. And then when our NASCAR contract ended, they were like, come do SportsCenter. So I was like, that sounds like a 9-to-5 job considering, all the travel. And like in our world, it kind of is because it's sort of normal. And so I was there and I was doing like the rookie orientation, even though I'd been with the company 7 or 8 years at this point. And McQuaid calls me and he's like, we've had a sick call. We've got nobody left. And I was like, great, cool. He's like, go do this show.
And this is his voice too, because
right, like it's just like nothing. Like if he smiles at you, it's more like a grimace. And you're like, I think that's a good thing. I don't know. But also I will say this about him. Like we give him a lot of, he's the kind of person like, I don't think he'll ever ask you to do something he himself wouldn't do. So like you kind of want to work for the guy. I remember being nervous, feeling like I had never worked in TV before. Shot sheets, you're like, what the hell is this? Like stuff. It's like when they say about the game of like football, right? Like you move from one level to the next and you're like, well, the game has finally slowed down. The game was like in hyper speed on that day one, and now it's slowed down.
Did you watch your performance back?
No. Like from day one? Oh God, no. No, not that one. I watched others, but that one I was just like, you know what? We're gonna remember this. We're gonna live in the moment, and then I know, like you know.
Paulie, let's show Nicole's.
Oh, stop it right now. Like you know when you make mistakes, like you know. So I mean, you're just sort of honest, and I think it was February 14th. I knew the mistakes that I made, and I thought I know where I need to improve, and so you just sort of like build on that, and I was just like I'm gonna enjoy it, and that's what I take away from that one.
I used to watch the show back every single night.
Well, but I do now because it's most of the time I'm on the rear, so we close, and then I watch it on the way home, and so I watch it every night essentially too.
Don't.
Same.
Don't. No.
So, okay, because you know that you tape stuff, and so like sometimes you tape stuff and you've got segments, and then you don't really know how it comes together.
Yeah.
So sometimes I watch for that to see, oh, that's what that looked like. That's how it came together.
Well, it's a different sports center now.
It is, yes.
But doing the 11 for such a long period of time, I was so fixated on making it perfect.
You can't though.
I know, but that's why you got to stop. I was noticing my tie, delivery on, a pitch to a home run, like it had to be. It was really minutia.
I guess maybe I'm not that much of a perfectionist, and I think, to an extent, there is part of that has made me feel more comfortable in the role
I
now.
think it's good to have that.
Yes, because you get to a point where you're very comfortable with who you are. You kind of don't give a you-know-what about what other people think anymore because you're in your own skin. You know how you want to sound, you know who you are, and you stop trying to impress everybody because you know your own worth. Like, you're there for a reason.
Yeah.
And so if you can go out there and you can have fun, yes, you're going to make mistakes, but like when you think about it, we're talking. And in the course of a conversation, how many times do you fumble your words just in the normal course of conversation? Like that's a normal human experience. And if you expect yourself to go out there over the course of 42 minutes and be perfect, it's an unrealistic expectation and you're just automatically setting yourself up to fail. So I think I let go of that. But yes, it's very easy to do. Just be like, no, you sucked on that one.
Yeah, I did it until I was reminded that you got the job.
Right.
That's what it took because I kept, how competitive it is in that building.
Just a little bit.
And it can be backstabbing. Everybody wants your job. And, I was like, nobody's going to catch me. I'm not going to let anybody catch me. But I was not myself until I was told, you have the job. But this was a couple of years into it.
Oh, no, I definitely felt that way because I had, my youngest is 9 and a half, and I had her fairly early on into my sports center career. And I really took the minimum amount of time off because at that point I was just starting to find a groove and whatever. And even though the concept of not taking time off to heal from having a baby is ridiculous, I felt the need to get back as soon as I could because there's always somebody else waiting in the wings. Always. The next generation is there, the next person. And so you feel like you have to justify your existence all the time.
My son, him and his wife just had a baby, so he gets 3 months off.
Okay, that's amazing.
And he said, Dad, how long did you take when he was my firstborn? I said, I think I took the weekend off.
Yeah.
And then I went back to work. And we had 4 kids under 7.
Which is insane.
Yes. But of course I wanted to go back to work. I didn't want to stay at home. Yeah.
I actually had a human attached to me, so that was a little bit harder, But I think
I had a nation attached to me.
Yes. Okay. Fine. I think I took 5 weeks with Blake, and I think I took about the same with Finley. But the difference with Finley was now 12. She actually traveled with me for the first year of her life because that was the easier thing to do because we were still on NASCAR back then. This business is wild, I'm telling you. It's very glamorous.
I always tell people, you don't want to go into this business. You think you do, but once you get in.
Do you know that was actually the first career advice I got? I was in college, and it was doing a basic communications course, and the professor was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I gave my whole spiel of blah, 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 blah. And he was like, go get an internship now. He was like, because I know so many people who think they're getting into the business and they think they're getting one thing, and what they actually get is not reality. He's like, you may hate it. And so I did, and then that's sort of what started the ball rolling on my actual career. But it's because I had this cynical professor who was like, this business sucks.
It's a tough business. It is.
Yeah.
But, I find people who want to be lawyers, and then they become lawyers, and they go, I don't want to be a lawyer.
Yes. I have
Yeah.
a friend who did that.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Nicole Briscoe, the SportsCenter anchor, Formula One reporter. Once again, the mothership will televise Las Vegas Grand Prix. They hate when I say the mothership at the mothership.
We still call it the mothership, though, too. I mean, yeah.
Yes, 11 Eastern coming up this Saturday. We'll take a break. Your phone calls. Frank Caliendo will stop by. We're back after this. Dan Patrick Show.